The Type 5 Heavy is a Tier 10 Japanese collector heavy tank. And, well, we can see it right here. This thing is truly massive. I mean, we can see the size of this tank versus, the VZ55 or even my 116F3. It's probably about the same size as both of these vehicles combined. I've already spoken to some testers and, well, they like the tank. They don't like the fact they're being constantly tunneled while driving the vehicle because of how large and obviously well known this vehicle is. Now, interestingly enough, while the Type 5 is not very fast at only 27 kilometers per hour, it's honestly not that slow either. We can see here its power to weight ratio is allowing it to chunk at that average speed and make its way across without actually even getting a single shot fired into it. Now, the Type 5 Heavy does have surprisingly good armor, and a lot more than I'd say the Mouse has, which is a big advantage. But it's not just the armor of the Type 5 Heavy that is really, really dangerous, it's the gun. This vehicle can roll a whopping 800 damage per shot. Yes, you heard that correctly, 800. We're going to take a look at the Type 5 here, and you're going to watch it roll around the corner in just a moment. Here it goes. 846 into that enemy FE2 and 5P. 846. What's the absolute heck? Also, that bounce there, that was the most tragic thing I've ever seen. 846 damage. And by the way, while it does have a long reload, as you can see, it's not like ridiculously long. If we take a look once again at the Type 5 here, and are you going to get the clear? Well, looks like he does not get the clear, but that's fine. There's a line in the back, and that Type 5 is going to aim it on the line. Let's see how much damage. 650. That must have been a very, very big low roll. That actually might have been a min roll. But the way the Type 5 Heavy works is it has two different types of shells. It has AP Standard, which has 700 damage per shot. Yes, you heard that correct. And then it has AP Premium, and it's more akin to that of a Tankenstein or SU-100Y. It deals less damage on the AP, or no, it does more damage on the AP Premium, where obviously most premium shells in Blitz, my tank, for example, goes from 490 alpha to like 430. The Type 5 will go from 700 to 800 damage per shot when loading gold, which is kind of insane when you actually realize just the level of damage output the vehicle has. Now, obviously, while you want to look at gameplay the vehicle has, we can see here a pretty good battle from that Type 5, dealing 3,600 damage, 8 shots fired, 6 of them penning. So 6 shots, 3,600 damage. That's just wild. But if we actually make our way over to a different replay, we can take a look at what the Type 5's armor profile is going to be like in actual battle. So here we have a VZ55, and as we can see, on the enemy team, we have a Type 5. So we're going to scroll a little bit ahead in this replay here. We're just going to watch it from the VZ's point of view. Now, some things I should mention. The Type 5 Heavy has 8 degrees of gun depression, allowing it to work ridge lines. Not only does it have decent gun depression, but it has very, very good armor. That is the armor, obviously, when you load gold. It's weak, right? It reminds me of the World of Tanks PC Super Heavy in that regard, where on World of Tanks PC, the Type 5, if you load gold, is a pretty easy pen. It's about 300-ish on the lower plate, and the upper plate of the vehicle is like maybe 340, and it seems to be similar in that regard on the Type 5 and Blitz. The vehicle has a very, very strong armor profile against standard ammo. The Mouse, as we know, you can pen very easily on the turret cheeks with standard, and you can very easily pen the lower plate, especially just the weak spot in the hull there, as long as you aim for it. But that's not the case for the Type 5 Heavy. If we take a look here, the Type 5 with gold, the entire upper plate is actually quite strong. We can see that it's entirely red. And this is 360 millimeters of APCR. Look at how strong that turret is. If you angle that turret just right, you're going to be getting a lot of bounces. I'm not sure if this Type 5 is running enhanced armor or not either, but that's really good turret armor, way better than that of a Mouse. The upper plate is nearly impervious, apart from these 2 points on the front here, and the corner cutouts are weak spots, as we can see. Like, those will probably be the biggest weak spot. That is where you're going to want to aim, because we can see even at a frontal angle here, the corner weak spot is still almost if it's like 1 or 2 degrees to the left or to the right, it's still almost a weak point. And then we have the lower plate. And as you can see from like an angle like this, That lower plate is strong. That is not a weak lower plate. It is, it's ridiculously strong, to be entirely honest. It is a little wild, the level of armor the Type 5 features. So what I'm going to do is, I got to wait for it to catch up on the game. There you go. What I'm going to do is, while this replay is playing, let me load up Blitzkit, and we can actually take a look at the Type 5 Heavy stats, and you can see exactly what we're working with here. So here we go. Now we got the Type 5, right? So we just saw the armor profile. And if we actually take a look at it, right, we put on enhanced armor. Here we go. So this is the Type 5 against most standard ammo and blitz. This is why it's going to be a much better mouse in that regard. Like, yeah, it has a weak spot, 240 millimeters in the center of the hatch, and it's got these little cutouts here. But in general, you angle the tank, these basically disappear. And while the hatch is a weak spot, that is a very hard weak spot to reliably hit, because if it goes a little to the left or to the right, it's not going to pen at all. We can see that, again, that corner cutout is the biggest weak spot, really, on the hull. But yeah, this is what the tank looks like against most standard ammo. Let's say you're in a medium tank, like an E50M, and you load gold. This is what the tank's going to look like if you're not running calibrated shells. Yeah, good luck penning it frontally. I mean, we do have these little cutouts here, 270, but in general, it's going to be a very hard pen. Even if you're loading Cali, this is what the tank looks like. Look at it angled here. The only weak spot is the corner cutout, which you can very easily hide. And then you have that. That's it. This thing is going to be a menace when it comes to the armor. It's really only when you start to pull out more, heavy tank style pen values that you're going to cut through it, right? Turret cheeks are 345, so basically all mediums are going to struggle to cut through this vehicle's turret. Again, it's got 8 degrees of gun depression. This tank is very strong, and it's definitely a heck of a lot better than a tank like the Mouse when you take a look at the armor profile. And again, the gun, right? Let's fully equip the gun here. So calibrated, do all these values here. Okay, so we can see the vehicle has 2200 base DPM. But that's fine, because loading the premium shells gives you 2,500. By the way, the HE damage is 1,100. Yeah, you heard that right. 1,100 damage with a penetrating high explosive. But yeah, already the damage output of this vehicle is insane. And I should mention, it has a surprisingly good aiming time value and overall gun. Its aiming time is not bad. It's middle of the road when it comes to the heavies, which is pretty good. Its dispersion is decent with refined gun. If you compare this level of accuracy to something like a 116 F3, this is light years ahead. And not to mention, as I said, it has 8 degrees of gun depression, 2,800 base health. It goes 27 kilometers per hour with a very good power to weight ratio, as we can see. It's slow. Don't get me wrong. 10.5 power to weight is slow, but it is faster than a T110 E3. And I don't know, I think this tank's going to be really dangerous. This is possibly going to be a really good super heavy. I hope that Wargaming balances it properly, though, because I don't want to roll up against a Type 5 heavy that does 800 damage and just ruins my fun. But you can let me know your personal feelings, comments, and opinions down below. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.